They moved on like you meant nothing, replaced you like it was easy. And now you're stuck with the question, what do I do now? If you're watching this, chances are someone you gave your heart to gave it to someone else. And let's be real, no move on quote, no late night scrolling, no fake smiles are fixing that right now. That sting in your chest, that mix of anger, confusion, and the aching silence. Yeah, I've been there. But this video, it's not another stay strong pep talk. It's not about pretending you don't care or waiting for karma. It's about using what happened to evolve. Because here's the truth. The person they left you for is not the upgrade. You are. They didn't trade up. They stepped down. And by the end of this video, they're going to feel that in ways they can't ignore. We're not here to chase. We're not here to beg. We're here to transform silently, powerfully, permanently. I'm going to show you how to move so strategically and so gracefully that you don't even need revenge. You become the regret, not through games, through growth. If you've ever asked, will they regret leaving me? You're about to get your answer. So take a deep breath. This video is your closure, your comeback, and your next chapter. And it all starts right now. So let's talk about the truth, not the version you've been replaying in your head at 2 a.m., but the version no one tells you because it hurts too much. They didn't leave because you weren't good enough. They didn't leave because you lacked something. People don't walk away from love because of a flaw in you. They walk away because of an emptiness in them. You showed up real. You gave your love without holding back. Maybe too much. Maybe you thought that loving them harder would make them stay. But love doesn't leave. Ego does. Immaturity does. Fear does. Sometimes people leave because they mistake chaos for passion. They chase the spark, not realizing they just threw away the fire. And sometimes they run from real love because it forces them to face themselves, and they're not ready for that kind of mirror. They didn't leave you. They left the version of themselves that couldn't meet you where you were. And that's not your burden to carry. What you need to understand is this. When someone walks away from something valuable, it doesn't make the thing any less valuable. It just means they didn't recognize its worth, or they weren't equipped to handle it. That's on them, not you. But I get it. You keep wondering if they're happier now. If the new person is everything you're not. But what if I told you they didn't upgrade? What if I told you they settled for easy, for instant, for temporary, because they couldn't handle real depth? Real connection requires emotional maturity, accountability, and consistency. And if they left, they were never ready to give that. The truth? They'll realize it. Maybe not today, maybe not even soon. But one day when the excitement fades and the truth settles in, they'll remember how safe you felt, how rare your energy was. And they'll wish they'd stayed. By then, though, you won't be waiting. You'll be rising quietly, strongly, without needing to look back. That's the truth about why they left. But here's the truth about you. You were never the problem. You were the proof they weren't ready. Let's be honest, your mind is probably exhausting you more than the breakup itself. Overthinking is like mental quicksand. The more you fight to make sense of what happened, the deeper you sink. You replay every moment, every conversation, trying to decode where it went wrong, what you missed, what you could have done differently. But the truth is, that loop you're stuck in, it's not giving you answers. It's just draining your peace. You need to hear this. Closure doesn't come from them explaining why they left. It comes from you deciding you no longer need their explanation to move on. So your mind is trying to protect you. That's what overthinking is, a survival response. If it can just figure out why, it thinks you can avoid the pain next time. But love isn't a math problem. It's not always logical, and it's rarely fair. And if someone was able to walk away from you without fighting to keep you, their why doesn't matter as much as you think. So here's the mindset shift. Stop focusing on them and start focusing on you. Every time your thoughts go back to what they're doing, who they're with, what they're thinking, stop. Interrupt the cycle. Ask yourself, how is this thought helping me heal right now? If it's not, it has no place in your mind. Overthinking gives the past more energy than it deserves. The more you dwell, the more power you hand over. But what if you chose right now to take that power back, to say no more mental real estate for someone who didn't value me? That's where healing actually begins. You're not here to figure out why they left. You're here to figure out why you stayed so long in a space that didn't see your worth. and how you'll never allow that again. This isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It did. And that's valid. But pain isn't a life sentence. It's a message. It's saying something needs to change. Starting with how you see yourself. Because the moment you stop overthinking them and start rebuilding you, the energy shifts. Your glow changes. Your presence grows. You become magnetic. Not because you're trying to make them regret anything, but because you finally stop trying to shrink yourself into someone else's idea of enough. So from now on, when those obsessive thoughts creep in, remind yourself, I deserve peace more than I deserve answers. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your filter. They may have left, but you're still here, still breathing, still becoming. And that's where your story really begins. Here's where everything starts to shift, with silence. Not just silence from them, but silence from you. And I don't mean passive silence. I mean intentional silence. The kind that speaks louder than any text you could send, any story you could post, or any look at me now caption you're dying to write. Silence is not weakness. It's strategy. It's strength under control. When someone leaves you, especially for someone else, your first impulse might be to prove you're okay, to show them what they lost, to remind them you're still here, still desirable, still hurting, but not broken. That's human. That's ego. But the problem is, the more noise you make, the more power you give them. Because the moment they sense you're reacting, they know they still matter, that you're still emotionally tethered, that even in your pain, you're still orbiting around them. But silence confuses people who expected a reaction. It forces them to sit with the discomfort of their own decisions without your reassurance, without your breakdown, without your attempt to explain or fix things. Silence shifts the spotlight. It puts the pressure back on them. And here's what happens. They start to wonder, why hasn't she reached out? Is she okay? Did she move on? That curiosity, that creeping regret, that's where the seed is planted. And it only grows in silence. You don't have to block them. You don't have to unfollow. You just need to disengage. Pull your energy back like a queen, reclaiming her throne, because you've been too accessible, too emotionally available to someone who didn't protect your heart. Now it's time to make your absence felt, not with words, but with distance. And listen, silence isn't about punishing them. It's about protecting you. It's a line that says, I am no longer available to people who discard me. It's a declaration of self-worth without needing applause. And it works. Silence creates space, not just between you and them, but between you and your old patterns. It allows you to detox from emotional noise. It gives you clarity. And most importantly, it gives them nothing to feed on. Because people expect drama. They expect you to fall apart. But when you don't, when you rise in quiet dignity, it echoes louder than any words you could say. You become a mystery again. And the truth is, we value what we can't predict. Let your silence remind them that walking away from you was the loudest mistake they ever made. But by the time they realize it, you'll be too far in your peace to care. That's the power of silence. It says everything without saying a single word. Now we move into the part that changes everything. Leveling up. Let's be clear, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about showing off or trying to post your way into someone's regret. This is about becoming so grounded, so radiant, so unshakably confident that what they did to you no longer defines you. It fuels you. When someone leaves you, especially for someone else, it's easy to start doubting your worth. You look in the mirror differently. You compare yourself. You wonder what the other person had that you didn't. But here's the truth no one tells you. It was never about them being better. It was about you forgetting who you are. So we take that pain and we use it not to prove something to them, but to remember something about you. This is your level up era, and it starts on the inside before the outside ever catches up. Let's talk about your looks, not in a shallow way, but in an empowered way. You don't need to change who you are. You to reconnect with the parts you've been neglecting. The glow isn't in the makeup, the outfits, or the gym. It's in how you carry yourself. But yes, go do your hair, refresh your wardrobe, hit that workout. Not because they left, but because you stayed for so long that you forgot how powerful you look when you're choosing you. Set new goals. If your world revolved around that relationship, it's time to build a world that centers you. What do you want to create? Who do you want to become in 6 months? Where do you want to live, feel, grow? Start small if you have to. Drink more water. Wake up earlier. Read books that expand your mind. Learn something new. Chase something bold. Not because you're broken, but because you're building. Now, here's the part no one warns you about. Confidence doesn't come from what others say about you. It comes from what you prove to yourself in silence. Every time you show up for yourself, even when you don't feel like it, you rebuild the trust that heartbreak tried to destroy. Confidence is the quiet promise. No matter who leaves, I don't abandon me. And the wild part, once you start leveling up like this, mentally, physically, emotionally, you stop caring whether or not they regret losing you, because you realize you were the blessing, you were the peace, you were the whole table, and they couldn't handle the feast. The more you pour into yourself, the more they'll feel your absence. But that's not the point anymore. The point is, you start to feel full again, not from their validation, but from your own reflection. Because the real glow up is when people can no longer recognize you. Not because you've changed, but because you've finally become who you were always meant to be. You don't chase closure. You don't chase revenge. You chase your potential. You chase your joy. You chase the version of you that was buried under their doubts and your overgiving. And when she rises, there's no going back. So this is it, your moment to choose. Are you going to stay stuck in the story of who hurt you? Or are you going to become the plot twist no one saw coming? The answer, it's already inside you. Let's level up loudly, boldly, beautifully. Not for them, for you. Now listen carefully, because this part right here, it's where most people mess up. When someone leaves you, especially for someone else, the pain doesn't just sit in your chest, it hijacks your judgment. Suddenly, you're texting things you swore you never would. You're watching their stories like a detective. You're posting just the right angle, the perfect caption, hoping they'll notice. You want to seem okay, or worse, you want to seem better. But deep down, you're hurting. And that's okay. What's not okay is letting that pain drive you into self-abandonment. Let me be honest with you, begging for someone to come back only guarantees they never will. Not because you're not worthy, but because desperation is not attractive. When you beg, whether with words, tears, or silence that screams, "Please notice me," you hand them all your power on a silver platter. And the more power you give away, the smaller you feel. That emptiness you're trying to fill, it only grows. Texting them after they've walked away is a trap. You're hoping for closure, clarity, maybe even a crumb of attention. But let's be real. If they cared enough to stay, you wouldn't be watching this video. You already got your answer. It just wasn't the one you wanted. Texting won't change that. It just tells them, I'm still here, still waiting, still holding the door open. And trust me, people do not value doors that never close. Posting to make them jealous, that's emotional roulette. Maybe they'll see it, maybe they won't, maybe they'll care, maybe they won't. But either way, you're not moving forward, you're performing. And deep down you know it. You know when a post isn't for you, when it's secretly a cry for their attention. But validation that has to be hunted is validation that doesn't heal. You don't need to delete your socials, but you do need to be honest about your intentions. Post because you're living, not because you're proving. There's a difference. One builds your power, the other leaks it. Let them wonder. Let them sit with silence. Let your absence echo louder than your presence ever did. Because the moment you stop reacting is the moment they start feeling, not because you played a game, but because you stopped playing at all. So please, don't call, don't text, don't explain. Don't try to make them see what they didn't appreciate when they had it right in front of them. That's not your job anymore. Your job is to choose yourself so fiercely that losing you actually means something. Because when you chase, you reverse the roles. You become the one trying to prove your worth. But baby, you are the prize. Always have been. They just couldn't see it or hold it. Let them sit in that decision. Let them face the silence. And you use that same energy to rebuild, to refocus, to remember who the hell you are. The power isn't in what you say. It's in what you don't. Not texting is power. Not watching their stories is peace. Not reacting is royalty. You don't need closure. You don't need their apology. You need your dignity. And from this moment on, you protect it like your life depends on it. Because honestly, it does. Now we step into the real shift, detachment. This is where everything changes. Not on the outside, on the inside. You've begged, you've cried, you've replayed every word, every memory, every reason they gave or didn't, and you're exhausted. Not just emotionally, energetically. Because every time you think of them, you send out a little piece of yourself. You're leaking energy into someone who isn't pouring back into you. But here's the truth no one tells you. Detachment isn't about not loving them. It's about loving you more. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It's not numbness. It's peace. It's the moment you say, I can want them, miss them, or even love who I thought they were, and still walk away. I see, energetic pull doesn't come from chasing. It doesn't come from texting, liking their posts, or waiting for them to notice your glow up. True energetic pull comes from pulling back. When your energy shifts from longing to indifference, that's when they feel it. They may not say it, but they'll feel it in the silence, in the absence, in the fact that you're no longer energetically available to them. People feel your detachment in their soul, and that's not manipulation. It's vibration. You're no longer sending out signals of lack, of heartbreak, of please see me. You're sitting in your wholeness. You're grounded. And when you get there, something wild happens. They start chasing the energy they once took for granted. But here's the thing. By the time they come looking, you're not even in the same place anymore, because you're not detaching to make them miss you. You're detaching to find you. The version of yourself that existed before they made you question your worth. The version that doesn't settle, that doesn't beg, that doesn't shrink to be chosen. Energetic pull isn't loud. It's silent. It's the way you stop checking their page, the way your face softens again, the way you walk into a room without scanning it for reminders. It's in your stillness, your softness, your certainty. People think strength is noise, but real strength is quiet detachment. It's choosing your peace over your craving. And that's powerful. Don't fake it. Don't pretend to be detached just to post about it. Real detachment doesn't need to be announced. It shows up in your energy, how you respond, how you speak, how you breathe. When you stop reaching, they feel the shift. But more importantly, you feel free. This is your energetic reset. No more chasing. No more performing. No more tying your worth to someone else's confusion. You detach, not because you've stopped loving, but because you've started remembering who you are. You're not a placeholder. You're not an option. You're not a second choice in someone else's story. You are a whole chapter, a plot twist, a comeback they didn't see coming. And now you don't even need to be seen. You just need to breathe, sit still, pull your energy back from every thought, every memory, every moment that drains you. You're not letting go to lose. You're letting go to rise. And the second you do that pull, they'll feel it. But you won't even need them to. This is the part they never saw coming. You were once the girl who waited for the text, who lost sleep, wondering if they'd change, who checked your phone more than you checked in with yourself. You gave chances, made excuses, shrank your needs, and softened your voice just to keep someone who never planned to stay. But that version of you, she's gone, and in her place is the one that got away. Becoming the one that got away isn't about pretending you're fine. It's not about throwing shade or proving your worth to them. It's about evolving so completely that the person they left behind is no longer recognizable. Not because you changed to be better for them, but because you remembered how powerful you are without them. There comes a moment in every healing journey when you stop chasing and start choosing. Choosing peace over closure. Choosing silence over reaction. Choosing your future over their inconsistency. That's the moment everything shifts. That's the moment you stop being the girl who got hurt and start becoming the girl they'll never get back. They may have walked away like it was easy. They may have replaced you like you were forgettable. But here's the truth. People don't forget the ones who loved them right. The ones who showed up, who gave deeply, who saw them when they couldn't see themselves. And when that kind of love disappears, it leaves a silence no one else can fill. Not really. Not for long. Becoming the one that got away doesn't mean you hope they suffer. It means you stop suffering for someone who never valued your presence. It means you stop performing pain and start walking in power. You focus on your glow, not to be seen, but because you deserve to shine. You pour into your goals. You rebuild your confidence. You fall back in love with your life, not because it's a strategy, but because it's your birthright. You reclaim the energy you gave away, and you use it to create a life so fulfilling, they wouldn't even know where to fit into it anymore. And here's the wildest part. By the time they realize what they lost, you're not even looking in their direction. Because the real flex, it's not moving on quickly. It's healing deeply. It's building something so strong within yourself that even if they came back with everything you once wanted, you'd say, I've outgrown this version of me, and I've outgrown you too. You're not bitter. You're better. You're not waiting. You're winning. You are the lesson they'll never admit they needed. The memory they'll never fully shake. The standard they'll never find again. This is your era now. Your story, and you're not the girl who got left. You're the one they couldn't keep. The one they let go before they understood what they had. The one who walked away and never looked back. You are the one that got away. And you always will be. So here we are, at the end of what you thought would break you, but actually became your beginning. Moving on isn't some pretty quote or social media trend. It's not something you do once or overnight. It's 1,000 tiny choices you make every single day when your heart still remembers what your mind is trying to forget. It's sitting in the silence and choosing not to call. It's hearing a song and not crumbling. It's walking past memories and still keeping your head high. People think moving on means you're over it, but sometimes it just means you're choosing yourself, even when it still hurts. And that's power, real power. Because the moment you decide that your peace is more important than your past, that's the moment you begin to take your life back. They might never apologize. They might never realize what they lost. And they might move on like you meant nothing. But none of that matters when you realize you're no longer living your life based on their decisions. The most powerful thing you can ever do is move forward without needing anything from the person who broke you. Because here's the truth. They walked away, but you didn't fall apart. You bent, yes. You broke a little, but you also rebuilt. And the version of you that's rising now, she's not here to beg. She's not here to prove. She's here to become. You're no longer the girl who waits. You're the woman who chooses, who creates, who heals. You've earned every scar, every insight, every ounce of wisdom that's flowing through you now. And when you look back on this one day, you won't remember the pain as sharply. You'll remember the power, the moment you stopped chasing and started becoming. This isn't about revenge. It's about release. Letting go of what was, so you can step into what's waiting for you. Because you were never meant to stay stuck in a chapter that was already finished. You were meant to write something new, something better, something that starts with you. So if no one's told you this yet, I'm proud of you. For still loving after loss, for still hoping after heartbreak, and most of all, for choosing yourself even when it would have been easier not to. This isn't just the end of a relationship. It's the beginning of your reintroduction to the world as someone who survived, evolved, and came back stronger. Because moving on, that's not weakness. That's not giving up. That's rising. That's freedom. That's the most powerful love story of all. The one where you finally choose you. And that's a story worth telling.